Welcome to History in a Hurry. This episode will cover the American Revolutionary War. The American Revolutionary War, 1775 to 1783, was a seminal conflict in world history, marking the birth of the United States as an independent nation. This war arose from growing tensions between the 13 British colonies in North America and the British Crown, fueled by disputes over taxation, governance, and political representation. The roots of the American Revolution trace back to the aftermath of the French and Indian War, 1754 to 1763. Britain, heavily indebted from the war, sought to tax its American colonies to recoup costs. Measures like the Sugar Act, 1764, and Stamp Act, 1765, imposed direct taxes, provoking widespread colonial opposition under the slogan, "No taxation without representation." Colonists argued that only their elected assemblies had the authority to levy taxes. Resistance culminated in the Stamp Act Congress and the eventual repeal of the Stamp Act, but tensions persisted. The situation escalated with the Townshend Acts, 1767, and the Tea Act, 1773, which renewed colonial grievances. Protests like the Boston Tea Party saw colonists defy British authority, dumping tea into Boston Harbor as an act of resistance. In response, Britain enacted the Coercive Acts, 1774, known in the colonies as the Intolerable Acts, which restricted colonial autonomy and heightened tensions. By 1775, relations between Britain and its American colonies had deteriorated. On April 19, 1775, the first shots of the war were fired at the battles of Lexington and Concord in Massachusetts. In June 1775, the Congress appointed George Washington as Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army. The early phase of the war saw significant battles, including the Battle of Bunker Hill, June 1775, where British forces won but suffered heavy casualties, demonstrating the resolve and capability of colonial forces. Meanwhile, the Continental Congress moved towards independence, driven by growing public support and influential works like Thomas Paine's pamphlet, Common Sense. On July 4, 1776, the Continental Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence, drafted primarily by Thomas Jefferson. This document proclaimed the colonies' separation from Britain and articulated ideals of liberty, equality, and self-governance. The Declaration transformed the conflict from a rebellion into a war for independence. The war's early years were challenging for the Americans. British forces under commanders like General William Howe captured New York City in 1776 and Philadelphia in 1777. However, key American victories, such as the Battle of Trenton, 1776, and the decisive Battle of Saratoga, 1777, boosted morale and convinced France to formally ally with the United States in 1778. France's entry into the war transformed it into a global conflict. Spain and the Dutch Republic also joined the war against Britain, stretching its military resources thin. For the Americans, French aid provided critical resources, including troops, naval support, and funding. The war in the southern colonies intensified after 1778, with British forces capturing Savannah, Georgia, and Charleston, South Carolina. Despite initial British successes, the Southern campaign faltered due to the guerrilla tactics of American forces, led by commanders like Francis Marion, the Swamp Fox, and Nathaniel Greene, who wore down British forces through a war of attrition. The decisive moment of the war came in 1781 at the Battle of Yorktown. British General Charles Cornwallis, surrounded by American forces under Washington and French forces under General Rochambeau, surrendered after a 3-week siege. The victory at Yorktown effectively ended major combat operations in North America and broke British resolve. In 1783, the war formally ended with the signing of the Treaty of Paris. Britain recognized the independence of the United States and ceded significant territory, extending from the Atlantic coast to the Mississippi River. The treaty also addressed issues such as fishing rights and the return of property to loyalists, although implementation of some terms proved contentious. The American Revolutionary War had profound consequences. It established the United States as an independent nation and inspired revolutionary movements worldwide. In the end, the American Revolution was a triumph of determination, unity, and the belief in self-governance, laying the foundation for the growth of a new nation. Thanks for racing through history with us on History in a Hurry. If you enjoyed today's quick dive into the past, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a fast-paced trip through time. See you in the next one.